Welcome back to the second part of this video. This is where we're gonna...
I don't see your face.
Okay. Welcome back to the second part of this video. First take, the cameraman said he couldn't see my face, so now I think you can see my face. And now we're gonna disassemble these three fans and install lots more RGB lights and also the controller back in. So after, I don't know, an hour or two of hard work and careful planning before that, okay, maybe not so meticulous
Not too
planning.
careful.
Yeah, not so careful, because all these things will, you're gonna have some issues, unforeseen issues, but we finally got it running.
There's always a workaround, so...
You may do the honors. I'm not Harry Potter, by the way, this is not a magic wand. That is how it looks like. As you can see here, we got double RGB fans 120, 4 of them actually in push-pull config. And then we have RGB fan at the back, and then we also have 4 of the light strips, 1 here, 1 at the front here, and 2 at the ceiling because we like ceiling lights. Okay, so let's just talk about the installation process. For me, I handled the front part and he handled the back part. I'll let him to talk about his part first.
Okay, for the back, as you can see, you can have a lot of LEDs going on around here. When there's RGB involved, of course, you will have some, splitters, where we mentioned in the previous video. Those splitters is gonna take a lot of effort to manage. So, good thing is that, you have this PSU shroud. So you can hide all those excessive cables inside here, which is not visible to the crowd. So still looks pretty good at the front.
One question I want to ask you. When you do your cable management, since we removed the bottom 120, you have more space there. Did you make use of that?
Well, I did put all of the splitters there. All of the splitters is there because you need a lot more other space for your power supply cables.
So remember, plan, but you can't plan everything, so
the plan is one thing.
improvise.
No, you will need at least a semi-modular power supply, so
Oh yes.
don't go for full if you can.
I would say full modular is kinda unnecessary since you still need the 24 pin and the 8 pin for your CPU.
Well, it does makes the aesthetics better at some point.
If you go for custom cables.
Yes.
If not, then the semi-modular is okay. As for the front cable management is a bit less tricky, but you still need to know where the cables should come out and go to the back. So we just reorient all the cables to have their cables facing the back. Remember, you have 2 different cables for this case. You have the power and also RGB cable. If you are using something like the Thermotic fans, they have only 1 proprietary cable, which is the 9-pin ones. Those are easier to manage, but you cannot reuse their fans without their controller. So that's the pros and cons of proprietary stuff right there. And as for these light strips, well, you can see cables are running through. We actually daisy chain 2 at the top here. We first go up from this corner, loop it backwards, connect to the second strip, and then go to the front, this light strip, and then through the bottom.
But if you have a bigger case, you can actually position it better instead of having it like this.
This is, you can see the protrusion of the LED is a bit prominent. Yeah.
It does block, the Cooler Master logo here, so...
Next up, we have to resynchronize all the RGB lighting through the software itself, because now, as you can see, some...
It's kind of out of sync for some.
Yeah, because we are still using the previous setting that we had. So let's jump into the software and we'll show you how to tune the software too. So this is the software itself. This is the Cooler Master RGB LED Controller software, as you can see here. We got the RGB. We got the white Cooler Master logo right here, and then we got the 4 ports. And this is generally what you want to look at. And everything is in real time, so when I slide it, you can see that the case lighting is actually changing in real time, and you can see the RGB sliders are responding accordingly. And yeah, generally this is what it is. You can select 3 levels of brightness. 1 which is off, you have 2 which is quite dim in this case, pun intended, because it's with tinted acrylic. And then you have brightness 3, which I think is adequate enough for tinted acrylic. And then you have customize, which the way we set it up is, well, we have just a mix and match of number of fans and light strips on a single port. So we can actually select the color, like we want purple, dark blue purple-ish for port 1, and you can see it responded right there. And then we want something like a red color for port 2, I suppose. Then green color for port 3, which is already green. And then we have something like a, let's just make it orange for port 4. So this is how it goes. And of course, for customized lighting, it depends on how you connect all your cables, how you connect all your RGB cables, depending on which port and depending on how you split your RGB headers. But this is generally how we set it up, and the end result is totally dependent on your own cable management. And as for star, this is the star effect. I'm not too sure what it does. Seems like it just blinks a lot. And then we have the sky. I'm not too sure what sky is, but well, it's red right now. Color cycle, the usual color cycle. Cycle through the 16.8 million colors that it has, RGB of course. And then we have breathing, single color breathing, and you can select the speed this time. Speed 1, which is breathing the slowest. Speed 2, speed 3, speed 4, and speed 5, which is like running on adrenaline, just breathe very fast. Multi-layer. Multi-layer is where you can have something like a more advanced type of customization. You can have all these lighting modes, but within certain ports only. So if I want the port 1 to have color cycle, I can do that, but I can't seem to right click to turn it off. So I only have port 1, which is connected to the CPU header, I think, to have the color cycle, and everything else is turned off. But I can click on port 4 right here to have port number 4 to have color cycle alongside with port number 1, and just turn it off for port 3 and 2. But again, depending on how you want it. Breathing, you can select breathing for, I don't know, just 2 ports out of all 4. Again, depends on how you want it, or turn it off entirely. And then there's also Mirage for ports 1 and 2. So that's all for the software. I still personally like color cycle on slower brightness and also slower speed. Just get a bit more ambient feel to it. But again, depends on how you want it. But the software functions like this. It's quite intuitive and, well, good, I think. We ran through all the software and the hardware, how to connect everything, and the possible ways for you to connect everything up. I have to say that the end result looks nice. Of course, it takes quite a lot of hard work to make it look nice. You should know.
Especially on the cable management part. And try to get the positions of lighting right so that it actually,
Looks nice.
looks nice.
Yeah, so actually what we did beforehand was we experimented before we start plugging in everything, and then start to plan all the cable management. So having a good plan right here is quite important. And I think that's all for this whole 2-part video on the tutorial for the Cooler Master RGB connection. Actually applicable for everything else, just that we happen to have Cooler Master stuff around here.
So that's what we use for now. If you happens to have other thing else, not just Cooler Master, you can apply the same concept of, pimping up your rig, make it look nice.
Yes, you just need to apply, learn the basics, and applicable to every single RGB system out there. Asus, MSI,
ASRock, Gigabyte.
and
BioStar.
oh, BioStar. That's a name that we haven't heard in quite some time.
But there's a lot more. We leave that for you to Google out for all the brands.
Generally, all the pins are just 112 volt RGB pins. That's it. If it happens to be inverted, so perhaps your motherboard has some kind of feature to invert those pins colors, and yeah, that's generally what you need to be careful of when you're assembling an RGB system like this, and savor the beauty of RGB when you're done with it. Thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye. Now we have to clean up all this mess.